Erica Swarthy Daisy here. This is the Samsung Galaxy J1, and this video is to kind of discuss why this phone would be a decent choice for a first-time cell phone, smartphone user, or someone that's older, maybe a senior. This phone I actually got for a cousin who is older than 50, and she said that she is an avid flip phone user, but now she's ready to go to a smartphone. So let's just take a look at some of the things we can do to make this phone accessible to older people or first-time users. So this Samsung Galaxy J1, in short, is a Verizon device. I'm sure they have compatible devices on other carriers. You just have to kind of do a Google search to see what other phones are similar or pretty much exactly the same, might have a different name on a different carrier. But if you want to do this device, it is prepaid. And at my last video, I kind of gave you guys a look at what the device kind of looks like in general. But as we see, okay, this device actually has 4G LTE SIM, which is pre-installed. It has 1850 milliamp removable battery. It has a wall charger, USB charger, and it has some brochures in the box, so if they need help, you can kind of let them look over that. The features are 4.3 inch WVGA display here. You also have a 5 megapixel rear facing camera and a 2 megapixel front facing camera. It has 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor, 1850 milliamp hour, removable battery, as mentioned before, and then the Android operating system. This particular device is running Android 5.0.2 at the moment, right out of the box. So with that said, I'm sure a system update is probably available through Verizon. So when she gets this phone, I'm setting it up for her. She lives in a different state, but when she gets this phone, perhaps she'll have Verizon to update everything for her once they get everything switched over. Now, if you go under settings on this device, or on most Android devices that are running Samsung software, and I have it on a former video. You can kind of look up some of the settings, but it's called easy mode, right? You go under easy mode and you can see I have it toggled on, but it makes all of the apps pretty much bigger, easier to see. Let's turn it off and look at the difference. So if we turn this off and we go back home, as we see, I mean, not a whole lot of difference, you know, but the apps are a little smaller. It's a lot more showing, and it could be overwhelming for a first-time user. So if we go again back to settings, go to easy mode and toggle it on. So once we toggle it on, we'll see turn on easy mode, and it says that easy mode will be applied to your home screens. Hit OK, and then voila, you'll see that the clock widget is a little bigger, the calendar, all the apps are a lot bigger. And if you swipe either direction, so you swipe toward the screens to reveal the screens on the right, you see that some of the preloaded apps, as well as some apps that I put on here, are kind of a lot bigger, and they're easier to touch and go back. And here you can see this is where you would add contacts. So it's really kind of shortens the process, and you can arrange whatever apps you want the person to have access to initially. And if you hit more apps, it kind of lists all the apps in order. So now all she has to do is swipe until she sees the one that she wants, or she can hit the search box and open certain apps that she's interested in. But I think with initially just email and probably going on the internet and some of the other things like banking and the Bible, things like that, she wants to access initially. When it comes to adjusting the font for text messages and things like that, I took the Message Plus Verizon app off of the home screen, and I went with just the Message app. And what I see here is that the keyboard is still a little small. So what I'm going to do is try to get a larger keyboard installed. So I'll show you one that I installed for my uncle previously. Or actually, I'll try to see if there's any updates because I did that last year for him. But he actually loves the larger keyboard. That's another thing that you can do to modify the device for an older person or new user. Also, if you go to the menu settings on the right, the three dots, you'll see font size. You can also kind of make it either medium or large for texters. So again, you hit that, and when they start to text, the font will actually be a little larger than normal. So I think for her, I'll go ahead and make it large. Font size. I can do huge, I see, but let's do extra large. Okay, see if that makes a difference. Okay. So that looks big enough, and I could do huge, but I think that would probably be a little overkill in this situation. Now let's see if we can find a different keyboard to install in here that will be larger than the standard one. So here on the Play Store, I found something called Big Buttons. I'm going to go ahead and install it and see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the app upon startup. At the top you see installation, and here's some information about how to set up the language and keyboard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so now that I've made the settings, the inputs for the keyboard, this just shows you some of the options you have for using this keyboard. Let's go back and see what it looks like now. All right, so go into the messaging app or messages app. This is the big keyboard, so this will make it a lot easier for her to text. But of course, I went ahead and put my name in. It's kind of tall, so I'm going to see if I can adjust it to make it slightly smaller, or you can just hide the keyboard. But yeah, I'm going to adjust it. It's at 100%. Let's go about 50 and see how it looks. All right, so keyboard height is at 100, or let's see, I won't go that low. Let's go to, this is 80. Okay, I guess you can't go lower, so maybe we'll just try 80. Okay, so 80 is showing here, and it's not so bad. At least she can see who she's typing to, and then she can hit where it says enter message. So that actually isn't too bad. I can go back up to 90, but I think that's a little bit much. I think she should be able to handle this. So when we go to Google Chrome, we can kind of test out to see if this is default for every input for the phone. And yes, when you hit a text box, of course, the big keyboard does pop up. So that does help. But if you're on the internet, you can just pinch to zoom. Some phones and some browsers do allow you to increase the font size, and you can also do that in settings. But I think she can pretty much pinch to zoom on this, so we wouldn't really need to have permanent enlarged settings for this. So that's it. This Samsung Galaxy device was purchased at Best Buy. It is used for Verizon. It was $29 on sale. And again, this is an ideal phone for someone who is older, maybe a first-time user, and this device will be used with a person over 50 years old. Not that 50 is old, but someone that's significantly over 50 years old. And she said that this is her first time getting a device that's a smartphone, and she wants to get caught up with the times. So this is a great introduction or intro device for someone that's older or a new user. This is Erica Swarthy Daisy. Thanks for watching. Bye.